With E3 no longer happening this year, many game development studios and publishers have to find alternatives to generate hype for their games. Many game companies are going solo with their own digital-only events, following Nintendo's success with Nintendo Direct live streams as opposed to in-person events at actual venues. All these events signal the end of E3 and are the final nail in the coffin for a consistently declining show. There's so much going on that it can be difficult to keep track of it all, but luckily I'm here to help, and I've compiled all the different events into one video here for you, so you're welcome! Things kicked off with Microsoft's Inside Xbox live stream for May, which was underwhelming to say the least. The event showed off very little actual gameplay despite being billed as such, but was designed to focus on third-party studios, with Microsoft's first-party stuff set to come a bit later. Microsoft plans to have events like the Inside Xbox stream take place every month for the rest of the year, and July's event will be the one to focus on first-party titles such as Halo or Forza, and my god does Microsoft need that right now. Industry figure Jeff Keighley is running his own Summer Game Fest, which features all the big publishers including Sony, Microsoft, EA, Activision, CD Projekt, Ubisoft, you know, basically all the big boys of the industry. A lot of the companies involved with Summer Game Fest are also doing their own thing, so I guess the only thing that differentiates them is whether Big Dick Jeff Keighley is there or not. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remastered was the first announcement, which was made earlier today. The next reveal is coming tomorrow at the time of recording, so you may already know all about it if you're watching from the future.
Time travel!
That reveal will also feature an interview with Keighley, so hopefully we'll get a bit more information about whatever it is beyond just that flashy trailer we always see. CD Projekt will be showing off something related to Cyberpunk 2077 under the Summer Game Fest umbrella on June 11th, which is mercifully less than a month away. What that event will show off is unclear, and we've not seen much of them for a while, so it could be anything from more gameplay to a delay to a reveal about the multiplayer spin-off that's still in the works. The event is called Night City Wire, but beyond that, nothing else is really known. In the Twitter thread where the announcement was made, someone questioned the recent ESRB rating of the game, which mentions in-game purchases, which raised some concerns of microtransactions in a single-player game. However, Cyberpunk's official Twitter was quick to dispel any worries, assuring that Cyberpunk 2077 is a single-player game with no microtransactions. The ESRB info is based on the fact that expansions require the base game and therefore are treated as purchase by the ratings board. Extensive paid DLC is something that CD Projekt has spoken about already, so it shouldn't come as a surprise, especially considering the success the company had with The Witcher 3's The Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone DLCs. On the exact same day as Night City Wire, Electronic Arts will be streaming its EA Play event, also as part of Summer Game Fest, though I'm not sure how many people are going to tune in to watch more FIFA bullshit when they could be looking at cool Cyberpunk stuff.
Cyberpunk.
This event has happened for the past few years separate from E3 and happens throughout the week before the expo. This will run from 4 PM Pacific Time or 7 PM Eastern Time, which is conveniently at exactly midnight for those of us who live in the civilized world.
Fish, chips, cup of tea, bad food, worse weather, Mary fucking Poppins, London.
So uncivilized.
The day after the Cyberpunk and EA events, on June the 12th, Ubisoft will be running its own digital showcase called Ubisoft Forward. The official tweet promises a fully digital showcase with exclusive games news, reveals, and more. I suppose if the tweet doesn't promise gameplay this time, then they can't break it. Ubisoft currently has a number of projects in the works, including Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Gods and Monsters, Roller Champions, Skull and Bones, and the recently announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so any number of these could be shown, or potentially even some new stuff. In other quick Assassin's Creed news, the new game will only run at 30 FPS at 4K resolution on the Xbox Series X. Not the Xbox One, the all-new teraflip-flopping Xbox Series X Ultra Fridge will only run Assassin's Creed Valhalla at 30 frames per second. Despite having no proper gameplay footage to look at or much information about the game at all, pre-orders are still open. We are living in the modern video game world after all. The game will also have a season pass, which will focus on the Old English poem Beowulf and the cruel truth behind the hero. The DLC for both Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey was fairly well received as being full of new content, but having a season pass available before the game is even out is always bullshit. The folks over at Ubisoft just can't help themselves, can they? Ubisoft will also be joining IGN's own series of interviews and announcements as part of IGN's Summer of Gaming. They've partnered with many of the same publishers and are running many of the same streams as Keighley's Summer Game Fest, so I'd expect to see the same sort of stuff coming through both events. Again, the only difference will be whether old Jeff is there. Also being shown off at IGN Summer of Gaming will be the Guerilla Collective, which takes place from the 6th to the 8th of June. This will feature numerous indie game publishers and developers, including Paradox Interactive, Rebellion, and Larian Studios, who are among some of the bigger names. One major absence from an indie-focused group like this is Devolver Digital, who always win E3 with their off-the-wall stage shows that cut through the rest of the industry's crap. Instead, Devolver plans to do its own Nintendo Direct style event, but it doesn't quite know when just yet. However, they are listed under IGN's partners for Summer of Gaming, so expect them to show up somewhere in there too. So long as they show more carrion, I'll be happy. Just give me the release date, damn it!
Give me what I want! Give me what I want!
If you're interested in Warframe, on July the 11th, as part of Summer Game Fest, TennoCon 2020 will be running all digitally. August 24th will once again see Jeff Keighley hosting Gamescom Opening Night Live, which will close out Summer Game Fest before Gamescom begins officially on the 25th and runs to the 29th. While the Entertainment Software Association, or ESA, the organisers behind E3, still struggle to find ways to run their event digitally as their partners move on to these other events, Gamescom is still planning to go ahead as a digital-only event this year. Gamescom doesn't hold the same cultural status as E3, but the Cologne, Germany-based event is the largest gaming event in the world in terms of visitors and traffic, though no details have been shared about what to expect at this new digital version. Gamespot is also doing its own thing in E3's absence, called Play for All. Again, the list of publishers is pretty much the same as Summer of Gaming and Summer Game Fest, but at least this name isn't exactly the same as the other two. Play for All will also feature the Guerilla Collective show and will help donate to Foster's Fever relief charities. Other games media outlets are running their own E3 Light events, including PC Gamer's PC Gaming Show and Gamesradar's future game shows, but there's not too much information about these just yet. So far, there's been no word about Sony's post-E3 cancellation plans, and presumably the main concern at the moment is putting out The Last of Us 2's dumpster fire. See, I could be talking about the content of the leaks being garbage, or the drama around it all being a complete shitstorm, so you can pick what I mean. Hell, I may even mean both, who knows?
Tell the truth!
According to a Japanese job listing by Sony Interactive Entertainment, the PS5 will launch in October, but Sony has been quick to deny this when speaking to Famitsu, claiming it was an error by the job site. Whether this job listing is true or not, or Sony is lying or not, I think October does sound like a pretty reasonable launch window. Sony has just launched its PlayStation Studios brand, which will bring all of its first-party studios, including Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, and Guerrilla Games, under one marketing banner. There is still no PS5 console announcement, despite hearing and seeing the Xbox Series X way back in December last year, but the current rumour making the rounds is that the grand unveiling will be on June the 4th. Who knows if any of that's true, but Sony needs to do something to stay in this race, especially after its numerous recent controversies. Now, I think that's pretty much everything you need for your E3 replacements. Personally, I much prefer this way of doing things, and if we can keep the ESA as far away from all these events as possible, I think they'd be much better for it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you want to support the content, go to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. I've been Henry Cooper. No matter what event it comes from, PGG will always be here to keep you up to date on the very best gaming news. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.